Oh yeah. Alright, hold up higher, please. Okay, so this is my system on how to get really good grades in college. So I'm gonna back up a little bit. Think about your classes as divided into two groups, right? So you got your Monday, Wednesday classes, and then you got your Tuesday, Thursday classes. And then what you do is, first of all, you go to every single class. Do not skip classes. I know sometimes it's hard to get up for those 8 a.m. classes. I know sometimes classes are late at night and you just want to hang out with your friends. Do not skip them, because if you want to maximize your grade while minimizing the effort, which is what life is all about, you definitely don't want to skip your classes. So go to all of them. So starting with, say you have 3 classes or 2 classes Mondays and Wednesdays, right? So after you go to class 1, you get your syllabus. For each of your classes, you need to make a chart of how the grading's done. The professor's going to tell you in that syllabus or whatever handout they give you exactly how he's going to grade you. That thing is your effing Bible. Okay, he's going to tell you there's 3 tests, they're each worth 20% of your final grade. There's 4 quizzes, they're each worth 5% of your final grade. And then 10% is homework and 10% is class attendance. Write that shit down. So okay, test 1, 20%, test 2, 20%, and then you add it all up, right? Make sure the math works. And you write down the dates for these tests and quizzes and homework and everything, right? What I used to do, and this failed me miserably, is I would not do any of my homework thinking I would get 100% on all those other things and still get an A-. It's not how it works. Don't do that. So after you write down the grading criteria for all of your classes, keep them in a neat place. Make sure you have your folder or whatever file, Trapper Keeper, or whatever you have for each of your classes. With the number 1 sheet should be the grading rubric, how the grades are calculated. Every time you get something back, you need to write it in there. So if homework is, say, 10% of your grade and you have 10 homework assignments and you get like a 70 on one of your homework out of 100, then that's 0.7. And then you add this all up. Does that make sense? So that's 0.7 of, because if you got 100, you will get 1 point, right? 10 homework assignments, 10 points. So you want to start keeping track of all your grades. And then what else happens on the first day of class is you're going to get your first homework assignment. The professor's going to tell you when it's due. So if it's a Monday, he might say this is due next Monday. He might say this is due on Wednesday, or this is due in 2 Mondays from now. The time to start that homework assignment is not the night before it's due, because that's what I used to do, and it was a huge mistake. The time to start your homework assignments for your Monday, Wednesday classes, when you get it on Monday, is that Monday, immediately. So you finish all that. Another thing that you do that's really important is you should know your professors and all of your teaching assistants, your TAs. I'll get back to that later. So Monday finishes, right? After class 1, 2, and 3 or whatever, you now have a rubric of all of the grades and how they're gonna grade you. And that thing is your Bible. You're gonna read it every single day. You're gonna look at it every time you go to class and every time you do the homework. As soon as class 1 is over, if you have time between class 1 and 2, whatever, start that homework assignment. Don't wait. Give yourself 15 minutes, buckle down, and start it. If it's a research paper or whatever, just get it started. Once you get started, the ball starts rolling, the rest is easy, right? Class 2, same thing. Class 3, same thing. As soon as all of your classes are over, what do? Go home and take a nap? Go watch a movie on Netflix? No. You're gonna go to the library with all of your textbooks and you're gonna sit in that library with whatever caffeinated drink you need until all of your homework for those 3 classes are finished for the next, just basically finished. Now, for example, if it's a big project, if the professor says on Monday, I'm giving you a big project, this is due 2 weeks from now, then you calculate it. You say I have Monday, I have Wednesday, which is another class, then I have Monday again, and then I have another Wednesday, that's 4 classes, and then it's due the following Monday, right? So that's 4 different classes. You have 4 days to work on this. What you do is you divide it into quarters. If it's a big project, you're gonna say I'm gonna get all the research done on this Monday, and then by this Wednesday, I'm gonna have a draft and then by, you know, outline and like beginnings of a draft, and I'm gonna finish reading all the research, and then by next week, Monday, I'm gonna have a full draft of my paper, and then by that following Wednesday, I'm gonna have it edited. This is important because you always want a day, you always want to give yourself some time to get it edited. What does that mean? I'll circle back to that later. So now Monday's done, right? You did all your homework way before it's due. Everybody else is still partying, drinking, you know, hanging out, chilling. All your homework for that, for that's due on Wednesday is done. Then you move on to Tuesday, same thing, right? Get that syllabus, get all those like grading criteria. That's your effing Bible. Meet your professors, meet your TAs, do all the homework for Tuesday. If it's due, say a week from now, divide it into halves, right? Do one half on Tuesday, the other half on Thursday. Repeat this throughout the week. Now, one part that a lot of people overlook, especially in college and especially in introductory courses where there's like 100, 200, 300 people in an auditorium, is that they do not get to know the professors and TAs, and that's a fatal mistake. You should be getting to know the people that are teaching you. Why? For the simple fact that they're actually giving you your grade. You want to know who's grading you, and more importantly, you want them to know you. Here's the thing, attitude matters, right? And if you are in anything that's not an engineering course, because engineering course is basically like the answer is 4 and you can't really get away from that. But most other grades are subjective, right? They're not objective. It's not like an equation or like answers X. Usually answers not X. Usually answers a paper, or usually answers like an essay. When grading is subjective, you want to make sure that the people that are grading you know 1, that you care, 2, that you have a good attitude, 3, that you work your ass off, and they know who you are. You want to put that reputation out there, because once you start getting those grades, they're gonna say, hey, you know what? I know Joe. Joe's that kid that comes to office hour all the time and he asks the right questions. He's working his butt off. So if they're on the cusp between a B+ and an A-, guess which way they're gonna swing? That's right, A-. Because you show up with a smile on your face and you care. So that's how you wanna come across. Start writing down all of your professors' information, where their office is, when their office hours are. For every single class you have, you should have a professor and a TA. Those people should know your first name by the end of your semester. So this is what you do. You come up with a schedule. Once again, I love schedules. So semesters for me, back in college, were about between 12 to 14 weeks, right? It goes by like that. Every week counts, right? So you want to start making a schedule. Your Monday, so think about it like this. So you divide your semester into weeks. Week 1, what you're going to do is you're going to meet and go to the office hours of your Monday, Wednesday class professors. So out of those 2 or 3 classes, you're going to look up, Professor whatever, Professor A and Professor B and Professor C. You're going to hit up their office hours during that week 1. You don't have to say much. Go in and you don't have to be there for 4 hours asking about random, ridiculous things. You can pick up something in class that you have a question on, or maybe you're curious about, or whatever, you just want to learn more about the research that they're doing, or why they decided to be a professor of genetics, but the most important thing is you want to get in front of them, introduce yourself, show that you're interested in what they're doing, and if you have some legitimate questions, actually ask those. So if you have questions as you're in class, write them down on the side, and then bring those to office hours. The kids that show up to office hours, I guarantee you, is out of class of like 300, how many kids do you think show up to office hours to that professor week 1? 5? Maybe 3? He's gonna remember you, and that's gonna make a difference, okay? So you wanna do that. So, and then on week 2, guess what? Tuesday, Thursday professors. Those office hours hit. Week 3, Monday, Wednesday TAs. Hit up those office hours. Week 4, Tuesday, Thursday TA office hours. Week 5, we go back to week 1, right? We're gonna repeat Monday, Wednesday professors. You just keep doing the cycle. Week 1 through 4, week 5 to 8, week 9 to 12. By the end of the semester, you would have met with every single professor and every single TA in all of your classes at least 3 times. All of them. They know your first name, they know you're interested, you ask good questions. And here's another thing, remember that essay that you wrote that was due in 2 weeks? because you had it all done in a week, you have a week now to get it edited. That's the best time, right? You want to go to your TA for that class, send him an email and say, hey, you know, I got this done a week early. I was wondering if you can take a look at it and see if I'm on the right track. Say exactly like that. Don't say, can you edit it or anything like that. Just say, hey, am I on the right track? And they're gonna point you in the right direction. So that way, you're gonna have a leg up on everybody else who's scrambling the night before to get it done, and they get no feedback. Because whatever feedback you get from that TA, that's good stuff, right? Because guess who's gonna be grading it? Your TA. Yeah. So if he or she tells you to change something, better damn change it, because that's how you're gonna get that grade, right? So Bible is how you're getting graded. Go to all of your classes and then really pay attention. Take notes in those classes, write down your questions. If you pay attention in class, you don't have to do as much work out of class. People don't get that, you know. In law school, I see girls shopping for shoes. I see guys playing crossword puzzles, reading the New York Times, words with friends all day long while they're in class, okay? And then they go home and they study for like 20 hours reading case law. Why? Because everything that matters that the professor actually cares about, he talks about in class. In that 15-minute class, he's going to talk about it. All the cases that he wants you to know, all the points from those cases he wants you to know, he talked about in class. So why read 800 pages every night at home when you can just show up for 50 minutes in class and actually take decent notes and know what things to focus on? Efficiency, people, efficiency. So every minute you spend in class is like 5 minutes of struggle, toil, and tears and sweat outside of class. So make those minutes count. Do not online shop. Don't be texting your girlfriend. Don't Tinder. Focus in the class, take good notes, and then do those homework on that same day. Another big point that I wanted to make. Model tests. This is something that people miss. When you're studying for a test, say professor says, you know, you have you're out of the 3 exams out of the semester. The first exam is gonna be at the end of week 4. It's pretty normal, right? So starting week 1, because you've been doing your assignments, been paying attention, you have really good notes, you're already in a good place. But you know, when you start studying, not week 3 or week 4, you start studying on week 1. You get everything you learned in that week, start synthesizing, making an outline, reviewing it. And then by week 4 or week 3, you're taking practice exams. Go to your professor and say, hey sir, you know, do you have some exams I could take just for practice? Quizzes too. Do those practice ones, because guess what? People in academia are usually not that creative. So they reuse material a lot. They're gonna ask the same type of questions. They're gonna do a lot of the very similar things. So if you do a couple practice tests, it's gonna really help you study. So that last week, at least the night before, really, you should be doing just all practice tests. If you don't know your material by that time, you're late. Let's see, so we got show up to all your classes, pay attention. The rubric, the grading criteria, that thing's your Bible. You should know it front and back. Office hours. And then, what was the other thing? Do your homework assignments the day that they're due, or all your assignments the day that they're due. And if it's, you know, if you have more time for it, then divide it up. And if you do that, personal story, I went from a D and F student my sophomore year of college to taking 24 credits a semester, about 6 4-credit courses a semester, and getting all A's. I got 2 A+. Cornell University represent, killed it, made Dean's List every semester, brought my GPA up from a 2 average to about a 3.2 at the end of my 4 years. Because after 2 years I was at a 2, and then by working my ass off I brought it up to a 3.2, and it got me into law school. So anyway, if you guys have other good tips that you want to share, please put it down in the comment section. Otherwise, thanks for watching and good luck.
Awesome. You want to stop it?